Welcome to Spotlight Radio. Spotlight is the place to meet the most interesting people, executives, professionals, and today's most notable experts share their wealth of knowledge and vast experience with us live. Listen and learn in depth directly from today's leaders and tomorrow's highest climbers. Spotlight Radio shines on the people that you want to hear every day, on demand and in real time on SpotlightRadio.com. The world's most fascinating people are right here on Spotlight Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Marcus Edwards. It's my pleasure today to introduce you all to my guest, Miss Dianne Marsch. She is a former school teacher and public speaker and now director of the Etiquette School of Manhattan for the last 10 years. She's a graduate of the Global Success Strategies and is an international image, business, and management consultant. Ms. Marsch is a highly experienced and professional etiquette educator and expert who has provided training in business, social, communication, leadership, public speaking, dining protocol, wedding, professional imaging, management, and modern etiquette to people worldwide of all ages and backgrounds. Mrs. Marsch is often the keynote speaker and has written numerous articles for newspapers, magazines, guidebooks, educational institutions, businesses, and a full range of etiquette topics. She has appeared on many TV and radio shows and was recently on Fox and Friends morning show. Ms. Marsch will customize a class program to help you reach your goals and achieve success. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today, Dianne.
Good morning. Good to be with you. I'm delighted to have the opportunity today to speak with you and share.
Absolutely. Pleasure to have you on the show. In today's interview with Mrs. Marsch, we will be going over and discussing some changes in etiquette, and we will start with a very strong and important topic that is of interest to everyone, I'm sure, which is how has social media changed the rules of etiquette? Ms. Marsch, if you would, give us a bit of insight here on how the dynamics there have changed.
This is a strong topic of interest. The media landscape has certainly changed in the last 10, 12 years. Laptops and tablets and smartphones and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, emails, text messaging has changed the way we communicate. Technology has revolutionized how we communicate, how we work, how we date, and live. We are more connected now than ever before, but sadly, our society has become less polite and courteous as a result. We certainly need to be connected to our bosses, clients, friends, and of course our families. Also, another positive is the new technology certainly makes life easier when it comes to verifying the legitimacy of someone or a company, but good manners are definitely missing. We receive calls often from managers of various companies who are desperate for ideas and training for their staff due to significant increases in breaches of workplace etiquette. Texting and checking email messages during meetings, interrupting the speaker to receive a text message or reply to a text, wasting time at their desks or during a meeting on their phone is rude and inappropriate behavior. 64% of CIOs surveyed by Robert Half Technology felt the increase of mobile devices, including cell phones and tablets, has led to a breakdown of etiquette in the workplace. And just 3 years ago, the survey reported 51% felt there were failures in etiquette in the workplace. I suggest that a request be made before the meeting begins to place all devices, that's all gadgets, away, and then share that there will be a 5 to 10 minute break every hour to 1.5 hour check-in. This provides an opportunity for people to show respect well as to the others attending the meeting. Also, I'd like to share regarding email messages. Don't send your great idea of how to work out details with that major client at 2 a.m. to your boss. Write your great idea in an email message and place it in draft, but send it the next morning prior to the boss arriving and checking his email messages. Also, the same rule applies to the boss who becomes upset when he sends an email message to his employees on the weekend and expects to receive a response immediately. It is acceptable to wait 24 hours before responding to an email message, but I strongly suggest that during the week, try to respond before leaving work for the day.
Absolutely. Such good information here. Share with us how digital technology is affecting our teens and their lives.
Lack of face-to-face conversations, Facebook, and teens are in danger. Face-to-face conversations are decreasing at an alarming rate because more and more teens are zoning into a digital world. It's rude for anyone to interrupt a face-to-face conversation by answering their cell phone or responding to a text message unless it is an emergency. A recent Nielsen Company survey showed that teen girls ages 13 to 17 send or receive over 4,000 texts a month. That's more than 6 per hour you're awake, which is an 8% increase from last year. Nielsen Company analyzed over 60,000 mobile subscribers, and teen boys text over 2,500 per month. Then you had your young adults ages 18 to 24 who came in at a distant second, exchanging over 1,600 texts per month, which works out to 3 texts per hour. Responsibility starts with each of us to learn the proper etiquette when texting and the use of the cell phone. But don't blame others and take personal accountability for your actions. This is such a critical topic to discuss, not just for teens, but for their parents as well. In an article over the weekend, Dr. Keith Ablow gave some powerful suggestions to teens who post pictures of themselves nude on Facebook. His article commented that it was due to possibly boredom or depression. He shared some ideas for parents regarding some discipline measures to take with your teen. He said teens posting nude pictures of themselves is becoming an epidemic. I work with many teens and often find that they have no concept how posting this negative information will affect their college and career aspects, their future friendships, could hurt them from reaching their goals and achieving their full potential in life. In a recent survey by Kaplan, it was shown that over 35% of admission officers checked Facebook and found posts and pictures that reflected poorly on prospective students. Teens fail to realize the dire consequences of their actions, which is where the parent's responsibility enters. In my interaction with teens, I have found that many of the teens will share that their parents lecture them on what photos and content they post on Facebook and the dangers, and they share that the parent will tell them not to post too many pictures of them partying and drinking. However, then the teen shares that they see the parent post photos of themselves inebriated at a party and barely able to stand. Then they read the content the parent posts containing mean-spirited messages about the neighbor or a friend, and sadly have shared confidential information that was promised never to be revealed about another person, but it's been posted. And the teens have even read that their parents have embarrassed each other on Facebook with cruel remarks. Parents are still the most important role models and need to be the parent their teens should be able to emulate. Teens need to see acts of kindness and respect from their parent towards others on a daily basis in different life situations. There's often a loss of boundaries in the home because everyone is so busy. They lack the time to teach manners and proper etiquette. I mentioned in our last interview about the 40-plus topics on our website under the teen icon, but we also have an etiquette educational parent-teen class that is customized for the family. this is becoming one of our most well-attended classes because we work on showing how the teen and parent can become what we refer to as having a polished profile presence, where you present yourself at your best on social media. The parent and teen attend the class, and it's been powerful and life-changing. And just a few suggestions to the teen. Keep in mind that you can change your searchable names on social media. You can untag yourself from negative photos and content. You can unfriend someone whose posts, comments, or photos make you feel uncomfortable. You can adjust your privacy settings to limit who views your posts, and you can delete your social media profile completely. Instant gratification of communication and being connected 24/7 may be your goal. However, the nude pictures and posting comments that make fun of others and create a false identity can have serious repercussions that affect the teen the rest of their lives. A positive online reputation is crucial to your future success, and it's up to the parents to monitor their teens' digital posting and set an example for the proper behavior.
Excellent. So how important it is to have that online representation reflect you in a positive way. The Polished Presence Profile class is certainly a class that can be helpful to those teens and parents. Is that right?
Absolutely. And all they have to do is contact us. The teen can take it. The teen and parent can take it. It has really proved to be a life-changing class that has been so helpful and changed the direction of many teens and parents. And I'm so delighted and happy to have that opportunity to share that, because that's one of our most powerful classes.
Absolutely. I can definitely see how it could be so impactful to those young people and their parents as well. With that being the case, speaking about social media, obviously for folks out there, the other big thing are cell phones. There is so much confusion when it comes to etiquette cell phone use while dining in a restaurant. Explain to us the proper approach there.
I'm sure you're familiar with walking into a restaurant and seeing everyone place their cell phone on the table. Mm-hmm. However, as soon as you enter the restaurant, turn the phone off, not on vibrate, but off. And the only change to that rule would be if you are expecting an urgent or emergency phone call possibly from another country, and this is the only time the call can be made and or received. If that is the situation, give a brief explanation that you will be receiving this urgent call, that you must accept, but you will be brief and you will leave the table to talk. Also, never place your cell phone on the table, which most people think is acceptable behavior. You are supposed to keep the phone out of sight in a restaurant. And lastly, I have a conversation with your fellow diners. I always suggest that you go prepared to discuss 3 interesting topics during the meal, whether you're dining with colleagues, business, clients, or family. Refrain from using the cell phone and texting. Recently, I saw parents in a restaurant with their children. They spent the entire meal sending text messages, and the children were on the laptop. And the only interaction they had was, what do you want to eat and drink? Take the time to make that dining experience memorable and leave a positive impression. Keep the cell phone off the table and in your pocket.
Well said, well said. It could be a very difficult thing there for many folks who seem to be, attached to their cell phones, but breaking that cycle, putting the phone away, really will lend itself to making such a more enjoyable dining experience.
Absolutely. And it's the face-to-face conversation. It's the being in the moment, being present, and being respectful to with whomever you're dining. That's the whole point of having a meal and just sharing with each other.
Absolutely. And I guess that also would apply to those folks who are dining at home as well. If you go to a friend's home or a loved one's home, same circumstance, correct? Absolutely.
Actually, you would come across as being extremely rude again if you kept your phone out or answered. I've seen people in conversations in a variety of places, and their phone is in their hand. They'll stop speaking, having a face-to-face conversation, and text message someone. And it is such rude behavior, but I'm not sure everyone is aware that it's rude behavior because so many people do it that they assume possibly that it's acceptable, but it is not.
Absolutely. And, of course, that goes back to your earlier point that you made about parents setting that right example. So for those parents out there, they need to be or aware not to make these same sort of mistakes in front of their young people, because then, of course, the cycle will continue. I want to switch gears here for a moment if we can. I know you work with a lot of brides-to-be who want the latest information in planning their weddings. Share with us some of the latest changes in wedding etiquette.
There have been quite a few changes in wedding etiquette. According to tradition, the bride's family always paid for the wedding, and the groom's family always paid for the honeymoon. However, that rule isn't in effect as much now. It is perfectly acceptable for the bride's family to be financially responsible for the wedding expenses if they desire to maintain that tradition, but it is no longer mandatory. A major factor in that change resulted because of the state of the economy, which forced so many to help pay for a wedding. And it's perfectly acceptable. And the groom's family should also offer to pay a share if they are financially able to do so. But that's a major change. And another wedding change is there are no restrictions on who you can ask or invite to be a maid or matron of honor. And the flower girl is no longer required to be someone young. The wedding is yours, and you should be happy with your choice of attendants. And a bride-to-be no longer is obligated to plan what was considered traditional unless she chooses. And another big wedding change I should mention is in gift giving. There is now a shorter timeline as to when the wedding gifts should be sent to the couple, which is 2 to 3 months maximum time to purchase and have your gift arrive. Tradition was you could send your gift within the first year and the couple was married. Now you really should try to send that gift within 2 months if possible, but wait no longer than 3 to give a wedding gift. And then I'll share another change. Oh, speaking of gifts, gift cards are acceptable wedding gifts now, which is convenient for guests, and it's quite appropriate to include gift cards on the registry. And that's been a big change. However, it still isn't acceptable to request cash on your registry, on your invitation, or on your website. Your wish for cash can be shared verbally, or have someone else share the desire of the couple to receive cash with a valid reason, such as if they're planning to purchase their first home and they need furniture. And then a fun change for the couple is, and one that's become very popular, is a dessert bar. Just like a wine bar or a seafood bar during the meal, often a small cake is made for pictures, but guests help themselves to the dessert bar, which is especially good if you have children in attendance.
Absolutely. I'm curious to know here, what is the proper etiquette when it comes to gift giving for a wedding and the price? I was always under the impression that the price of the gift should be reflective of what the price of the plate may have cost. Is that still the truth?
I think you're asking me, I'm sorry I didn't hear that entire question, but you're asking me about the price range. It would depend on how well you know the person, but you have a registry, and that is your guideline. Okay. You go to their registry, and then that will tell you, then you have your differences in prices, and you can choose something at the bottom on their registry, least costly, or something at the top, very expensive, and there should be a good range of choices and options on their bridal registry.
Understood. So that's great information out there for those brides. Let's speak a little bit about for the case for those who are getting married for the second time. Have there been any etiquette changes for the second-time bride?
Yes, actually, let's start with the shower for the second-time bride. It is quite acceptable to give a wedding shower for the second-time bride. However, the host should invite family and close friends only, and don't include those acquaintances who attended the first bridal shower and aren't in the group of family or close friends. Now, if the host would like to include everyone in the second-time bride shower, plan a luncheon without gifts. And you just mentioned pricing. The budget is still a determining factor to the size of any wedding. But now the offer of help from others is acceptable, even from friends who would like to contribute towards the wedding by purchasing the flowers or offering to have the reception at their place. From my experience, I suggest that you don't invite a former spouse or in-laws to the second wedding, even if you have remained friends. It is acceptable, though, to invite children from both sides of the family and let them decide if they would like to attend. And as far as wedding gifts for the second-time bride, again, it should be a gift can come from close friends and family, but keep in mind there is no obligation by anyone to give a gift. However, new friends usually want to give a wedding gift, so it is acceptable now for the second-time bride to register for some items, but don't go to the extreme with your registry list.
Excellent. We're quickly running out of time, but I want to ask one more question I think is quite important and very helpful to our listeners. This is often the case where there's much fear and apprehension when it comes to this next question, but I have to ask, how do you go about asking your boss for a raise?
I receive this question so often and just recently contributed towards an article on this topic. In our previous interview, I mentioned that I teach people how to understand how their behavior and reactions affect others. When employees apply the right strategies, working together to increase productivity and asking for a raise, it enhances their ability to maximize what they do well, and it increases their effectiveness by improving their relationships with others. By observing others, after you've gone through this training, you will better understand how that person processes information, which enables you to establish commonalities with them, such as posturing, positioning, and movement. And then this, in turn, will help you communicate more effectively when asking for a raise or promotion. I have a totally different perspective on this. And then when you're familiar with the different learning styles, you have a better advantage of being capable of modifying your response and making a solid connection with your boss and teammates. This is a powerful technique to use to establish rapport and show your credibility. But keep in mind, having worked for your boss long enough to warrant asking for a raise, you should have a good idea whether he or she is a person that prefers bottom-line results and dislikes a lot of details and small talk. A boss who is less concerned with others' feelings won't be impressed or persuaded to give you a raise if you show too much emotion in your presentation. Professionalism is always of utmost importance. And you can certainly prepare for making a persuasive, polished presentation to your boss on why you deserve a pay increase by pointing out your positive traits, which have been beneficial by increasing the company's profitability. And it's crucial to acknowledge how your teammates have advanced under your leadership and how the group, possibly with your guidance and direction, has made a significant contribution and together as a team taken the company to a new level. I would suggest that you discuss any projected goals and how you will make them happen, how you managed and completed your job schedule or even ahead of time. And this would be a good time to discuss your time management style and how you impact others and keep them on track, which warrants the raise and or promotion. And if you're a person who has displayed strength in decision-making, problem-solving, delegating, motivating, in addition to being an exceptionally good listener, mention these facts briefly in your summary as well. but be confident and assured in your action, appearance, and spoken word. You need to think, act, and look professional. And I always suggest document all conversations regarding the meeting to keep in your records for possible future use. And then I do suggest that you refrain from asking for an outrageous amount that you know your company is unable to afford at the time, and never discuss what your coworkers make and any raise they may have received. And then I would say, too, that you refrain from stating that you will go with another company unless you're prepared to do so. If the raise doesn't materialize, refrain from losing your cool. And then you can always have a backup. Request a cost of living increase, which is usually accepted as being reasonable and not greedy, or propose a counteroffer, such as a change in working hours or more vacation time or an end-of-the-year bonus. But I strongly suggest that you start and end the meeting with a handshake. And just keep in mind, attitude speaks loudly and goes hand in hand with communication. Attitude is the way you approach your job, the way you complete your work, and interact with others.
Absolutely. Such great information here for our listeners. We are quickly running out of time, Dianne, though there is so much more information that need to be given to listeners, and that is one of the major reasons why we want to encourage folks to be able to reach out to you. As we said earlier during our program, you have the ability there to set up and put together and create wonderful programs specific to your clients' needs. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. If you don't find a class that will meet your needs of the list on our website, by all means, just contact us, and we will customize to meet a class that will meet your needs, achieve your goals, and have you well on your way to success. And I look forward to working with you. We have worked with many, many people worldwide, learners of all ages, and we customize the classes that make the difference and provide the life-changing skills to advance your journey through life.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who are joining us, we want to encourage them to reach out to you. They can do so by visiting your website. The website is nyc.etiquetteschool.org, or they can call you directly at 877-506-2663. Once again, that number, 877-506-2663, and they can start learning right away. Skills for success and confidence for life. Very, very important. I want to thank you again, Dianne, for coming on the show today and speaking with us. It's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Been delightful. Thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with you another time.
Absolutely. To our listeners, I'd like to thank you all for joining us as well. Let you know you've been listening to Spotlight Radio. The archive version of this show, as well as many other shows, can be heard online at spotlightradio.com. I'm Marcus Edwards, thanking everyone for joining me today and wishing you all the very best.
You're listening to Spotlight Radio. Stay tuned for more from today's highest climbers and top professionals.